You guys are watching NFL Daily. Cam Rogers with you alongside Tom Downey. Let's get to those NFL rumors here on the show. Yeah, some real good ones. And we'll start things off with Odell Beckham Jr., that extension. Is it going down?
Well, contract talks have finally started between the two sides, and I think Odell Beckham has done everything right to earn that extension.
Agreed.
A, his on-the-field play, of course, and B, he didn't hold out. He did what the Giants wanted him to do, and now I think he's like, all right, guys, I did what you guys asked of me. Can I now get this big fat new extension? Can I get paid in the way that I deserve? And he's seen what Brandon Cooks and Jarvis Landry got. He wants a lot of money now.
He's like, I want that.
He wants Antonio Brown. I want to top that as well, because that was actually a couple years ago. I deserve to be the highest paid guy. Now, he's not going to get $20 million, I don't think, but he can get 17.5, and I think I'm sure he's going to ask for even more of that to at least start off with his contract talks.
Well, he showed up to camp. He's not pouting. He's going and doing his work. Why not get paid? He's doing the right thing.
Makes sense. I think the Giants still want to see him fully healthy, and I understand where they're coming from as well.
All right. Speaking of extensions, how about Aaron Rodgers? He could soon be the highest paid NFL quarterback.
Well, they're making, quote, noticeable progress, is the report from NFL.com. And Rodgers, I think this deal, Cam, could look very different than what we've seen in the past for quarterbacks. I don't think it's going to be a simple 5 years, $31, $32 million a year with 70% guarantee. I think it might be a, hey, you know what? This might look a little bit more like one of those NBA contracts where signs in for another 1 year extension and then can opt out too if he wants and get paid again. Or maybe even a potential, hey, we will give you a certain percentage of the salary cap each year. I think that Rodgers Group wants to be creative. The Packers are like, can we just pay you a little bit more than what Matt Ryan got because it's easier that way?
Is that okay? Can we do that?
Can we not bankrupt ourselves and ruin our cap?
Rodgers knows that the landscape of quarterbacks getting paid rapidly changes. Mm-hmm. Like it's contract after contract. Exactly. And one quarterback outdoes the other. Rodgers knows that, so he wants his contract to reflect perhaps some amendments down the line and all this. So we'll see if an extension goes down this offseason.
I think it will get done, and I'm very curious to see what it actually ends up looking like.
All right, well, people complain, Tom, that we always talk about the Earl Thomas trade. We actually have updates to talk about when we do talk about him, and here's another.
Let's not kid ourselves. It's what you guys want.
Exactly.
It's fine.
Adam Schefter saying NFL executives think that Thomas will get traded, and Thomas recently wrote his own piece.
Well, Thomas kind of reiterated what he said in the past. He wants a new contract from Seattle, or he wants to be traded to a team that will pay him like the top tier safety that he is. As for the Schefter report, I'll make note of this as well here. NFL execs can think things. Sometimes they're right. They are a reliable source to have. Sometimes execs are stupid. Like that's the reality, is that sometimes their opinions are actually pretty bad. You've seen the anonymous scout quotes before.
Sure, absolutely.
Sometimes they're not that great, but coming from Schefter, and with what we've heard lately, I think a trade is getting a little bit more likely. And Cam, if you made me pick one or the other as to whether or not Thomas would be traded or not, as of right now, I think he'd be traded. Wow. Now, I am not overly convinced in that, and you're making me pick one here. I don't feel super confident, but if I have to pick one, I think it's a trade, and probably to the Dallas Cowboys as well.
Does it matter at all that Earl Thomas did not mention a team in his piece that he wrote recently?
No, not really, because there are only a handful of teams that can afford him and have a needed safety. We've gone through them before.
Yep.
Cowboys, Texans, and so on. I'll make note of this as well, what Peter King reported, and that he thinks the most Seattle can get is a 2020 conditional third-round pick.
Crazy.
Which I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with it either.
I think they can get a second-round pick. And if the best you're going to get is a 2020 conditional third, you do not do the trade because you'll get that via a compensatory pick. So don't do that if you're Seattle. So it's interesting. I think that they can get a second-round pick, maybe from the Cowboys, that almost went down during the draft itself. But in the end, I think that I'm leaning more towards Earl Thomas getting traded than I ever have before, say, maybe the early parts of the draft when I thought a trade might go down in round 2.
Yep. Okay, there you go. All right, guys, you guys are watching NFL Daily. And we are wearing these fantastic Mizzen and Main shirts right now. You can get one for yourselves, of course, or your friend out there, family member. Comfortable.af is the website. Products made right here in America. They feel great, Tom.
And it's that is the URL, comfortable.af, because they are comfortable as F.
Absolutely are.
That's not some kind of trick there.
No.
That is the correct
Not
URL.
a typo at all. All right, let's continue along. NFL rumors. Kenny Vaccaro, perhaps to the Tennessee Titans in light of the Cyprien injury.
Yeah, Johnathan Cyprien, unfortunately, out for the year. He has torn his ACL, so he is out. And Cam, the Titans are bringing in all kinds of safeties right now because, frankly, they really need one right now. And we'll bring up their depth chart on the guys that they're bringing in as well. But the Titans have a pretty big hole at safety right now. Now, they're going to bring in Mike Mitchell, Eric Reid, who we'll get to here in just a second, and your former guy, Ladarius Webb of the Baltimore Ravens.
There you go.
Who was a little old.
Versatile player, though.
I'm picking one of those middle guys, if that's just me. But as for safety, they're not great without Johnathan Cyprien. Kevin Byrd is a great free safety, but then you're looking at Dane Cruikshank, who I like, but was a fifth-round pick and probably better as a free safety or nickel guy. I mean, not a true box safety. And then it's Lewis and Braden Trawick, who is a special teams guy. They don't really have that Cyprien replacement as a box, which what Cyprien does so well is hang on the box and almost be a linebacker.
Sure. And I think Eric Reid could be that guy if they bring him in.
I think that brings us to our next one here. And Eric Reid, I think, is the perfect fit for Tennessee.
He's going to visit.
In terms of on-the-field ability. Well, we'll
the
get
problem
to
is...
Yeah, the kneeling is a big issue there.
Of course, he's got the collusion case
against
the NFL.
Case. The Titans, though, if you want to find a replacement for Johnathan Cyprien, Eric Reid is your guy. He is better in the box than Kenny Vaccaro is. He's a better pure player than Mike Mitchell and Ladarius Webb are. So talent-wise, I think Eric Reid is a perfect fit for Tennessee. And if I am Tennessee, I've said this before, Cam, I don't care about the anthem stuff.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
I want to freaking win games.
Does General Manager John Robinson sit down with Reid and ask him, what are your plans for the national anthem?
I don't think it's a fear from the GM. I think it's a fear from the ownership, like it was with the Bengals when
Fair.
Mike Brown kind of came in and kind of ruined that deal for Reid and the Bengals, at least potentially. And in the end, Cam, Eric Reid will be forgiven for kneeling if he makes a late game interception to secure a win against Jacksonville to secure the AFC South.
You see, Tom, I don't know if
That's
it's that simple.
I think it is.
Okay.
If you win, people don't care.
All right.
Eagles fans are not mad at Malcolm Jenkins because they won a Super Bowl. They'll be okay. Now, there are always going to be a couple, but the vast majority of Eagles fans don't care because they won. As long as you win, it's fine.
Win, win, win.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue along. Talk about Doug Baldwin. He's dealing with an injury right now. It seems to be short-term, Tom.
Yeah, I am a little bit concerned about it. Knees are always an issue, and he is going to miss, if not the entire preseason, the vast majority of it, and potentially more as well. And you look at what Seattle has at receiver, Cam. You take Doug Baldwin off this list, this is a pretty bad group of wide receivers on their depth chart. Tyler Lockett, Jaron Brown, Brandon Marshall is not the same guy he once
Tanner
was.
McAvoy.
Amara Darboh, Marcus Johnson. This is a pretty poor receiving core, so if Doug Baldwin does miss time, you know what Seattle should do, right, Cam?
What?
Pick up the phone and call Dez Bryant.
That's
what you should do. And frankly, they should have signed Dez Bryant instead of Brandon Marshall anyway, because Dez Bryant's a better player right now.
Yeah, I can't believe they actually brought in Brandon Marshall and did not sign Dez Bryant.
I mean, look, we saw what Brandon Marshall did last year. It was bad. Maybe he bounces back. He's had his own injury problems. I do not trust the guy, unfortunately.
All right, well, I have been saying for many weeks now that Dez Bryant will go to the New England Patriots, and then I hear this news. Eric Decker is going to the Patriots, which makes me mad, because I want to be right, Tom, and it feels good to be right. But hey, for Decker, obviously...
I was right, because when we went through our top 25 free agents last, I had Eric Decker going to the Patriots. Because this is a classic Patriots signing. It helps that Jordan Matthews is on IR and may or may not be cut because, or released with a medical settlement because of his own hamstring injury. But Decker now slots in as your slot receiver behind Julian Edelman, who is going to miss some time to start the season. So you got Chris Hogan, Kenny Britt seems to be doing pretty well. Philip Dorsett, Cordell Patterson can run a lot. They've got speed. Patterson can play some almost jet halfback type guy. Braxton Berrios, in theory, is your down-the-road slot guy because he just fits that very stereotypical Patriot mold. Matthew Slater is your special team star. And then Malcolm Mitchell is the guy that people like to hype up, even though I still don't think he's actually all that good. He also has his own injury problems right now.
I still think there's a gap there on that depth chart. You bring in Dez Bryant. Eric Decker is not a red zone threat. Dez Bryant is at this point. But, again, these two receivers are on the back of 9 of their careers anyway. All right, Decker to the Patriots. Let's talk about Aaron Donald and his extension. Well, apparently, in terms of the measurements of value, Rams leadership and the Donald camp are not on the same page.
Which makes sense. That's why they haven't agreed to a deal yet. And it's still
it
is still kind of weird to hear the Rams COO say, yeah, we have different values for how Aaron Donald is and how he should be paid. And neither side is willing to budge right now. And my initial thought was, 5 years, $100 million, or as you said, 6 years, $120. Maybe Donald wants more like 5 years, $120 or $125. Maybe he wants more of a $25 million a year contract. I mean, the Von Miller deal was signed fairly long, or several years ago, and he's going to count 25 against the cap this year. That's a massive number, and if you're Aaron Donald, the more I think about this, maybe you say, you know what, yeah, we know what Von got, but he's counting 25 per year now. You should pay us that too. So I think that there is a strong possibility that maybe Aaron Donald and or Khalil Mack, as we'll mention here again in a bit here, that they want even more than we have thought in the past. And that could be a big problem for those two sides.
It's going to be really interesting to watch. Which deal goes down first, Mack or Donald? Stay tuned, I guess.
And then which one gets done after that, and
exactly.
do they get signed for more, or do they actually end up getting maybe identical contracts in the end?
One of the intriguing storylines to watch here.
Oh, yeah, it's very intriguing.
Throughout the preseason. All right, let's talk about Terrence Williams. Still in trouble, Tom?
Oh, well, not with the law, and this frankly surprises me. So Terrence Williams' charge for public intoxication has actually been dismissed by Frisco police in Texas. Now, he did go to a state-mandated alcohol awareness education course, which just sounds terrible, but very important when you clearly have an alcohol issue like Terrence Williams did. But I'm very surprised that it got dropped because his car was crashed. They found Terrence Williams later that night.
It didn't look good.
On his scooter, clearly drunk, like way too intoxicated. This had come hours after he had stopped drinking. So his car was crashed. Frankly, I know you never had him in the car. I think you could have gotten him on a DUI. Because who drove the car?
Right.
It wasn't Kendall Wright like Terrence Williams tried to claim to police.
Kendall Wright.
Which was a hilarious story in and of itself. But it's very strange to see it go down. But in the end, good news for T. Will, and there shouldn't be any NFL suspension either. At least that's what the Cowboys believe will not happen.
All right, folks, that's the rundown with the latest NFL rumors here on NFL Daily. Signing off for now, for Tom Downey, I am Cam Rogers. We'll see you guys next time.